welcome back everybody. Back in the pro shop. Bo's helped me out again today. Couple things that have been coming about on some of the videos since I did the Axcel sight review on the Picatinny rail. Now there's only a handful of options for sights with that Picatinny attachment or that bracket, right? And a couple of them that we want to talk about. Obviously the first one, I can tell you that shooting the Axcel sight, the Landslide, I like a ton of the features on this sight. One of the things that I can tell you that I'm not crazy about is the wheel, the driver wheel, because it's real close. And let me pull the camera and show you real quick. When you get your fingers in here, it's real close to running to your windage knob. Excuse me. So that is okay, but if you're making a big adjustment and you're not really paying attention, I have kind of fumbled on this a little bit. Other than that, adjustability wise, I mean, I've always said Axcel has a ton, I mean, great sights from adjustability standpoint. So, Bo, other than before we get off the Axcel, is there anything else you want to kind of highlight or talk about with this specific sight before we move on to the other options that are out there? Because like I said, I've already kind of done a review / overview on this one.
Sure. So on this particular sight, a quick throw knob here to unscrew basically the housing. The housing will pop right off. So for a guy that's on the fence between running, let me get on from behind the bow. For a guy that wants to run a single pin sight or a multi-pin sight, and he kind of wants to go back and forth, doesn't really know where he's at, what he prefers, it's really easy to unscrew that, pull the housing right off, and then go ahead and slide a single pin housing or 5-pin, whatever you may prefer, or again, trying to figure out what you prefer. That's something I absolutely love. That particular housing as well, for instance, this particular one here is a 3-pin, has that rheostat cover, so you can slide the cover, you're fine. You can slide that cover on the housing to let more light in or dim it down depending upon whether you've got bluebird skies or you're getting late in the evening and it's starting to get really dark. You need to expose those fibers, which is nice. Now, Phil did mention that the driver wheel, is pretty close to that windage bar. They do have, make sure you're unlocked here, they do have a button where you could push it and slide that housing up for real big adjustments and then just hit that wheel for the fine-tuning stuff. If you can remember to do that on the fly, not a lot of sites have that. Is one thing that Axcel does have that's just absolutely awesome. And then their lock and unlock is really easy to get to right there next to that wheel as well, rather than it being on the other side like a lot of other manufacturers. Now, Axcel has started as well to use a laser engraved metal sight plate, which is really nice for the guys that don't like that vinyl sticker. Myself, if I can get away from the vinyl sticker, I would rather the laser engraved sight tape. Then that way I don't ever have to worry about it coming off. I don't have to worry about the ink bleeding or anything like that to where I can't see it. So that's really sweet on that sight as well.
And just to, those limit out at 100 yards. So those of you that want to like really push long range for practice, whatever, you do have some limitations on those. And there's one manufacturer that makes taller tapes. I don't know if they line up with this or not.
I don't know if they do either.
Yeah, so I know that you can find some out there, I think 120 or 125. Anyway, this sight right here, the last thing I want to just highlight again before we move off is this Picatinny bracket does have a slight bit of adjustment in or out, like a micro dovetail, if you will, right? It's a smaller version of dovetail. And so far of the ones that I've looked at and kind of started to get my hands on, it's the only one
I've seen.
Yep. So really nice feature on that as well. So the Axcel Landslide on the Picatinny rail, I'm liking more than not. I mean, there's very few features that I dislike at this point. But going to additional options for the Picatinny bracket on the new Hoyts, Black Gold does have a bracket that you can, and I'm sure you can order these sights new with that on there as well.
Goes through their custom shop, but you can do that. I believe we've got a couple of them coming.
And in my opinion, if you just want to get the bracket, in case you ever go away from this style, it's probably better to have that, either the dovetail or the standard mounting bracket, and just change this out. You got a few screws you got to put on there. It is, they're all very similar to where it's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches what that bracket's giving you off the front of the riser. So Black Gold, we've all used Black Gold sights. I don't need to say a ton about that. As far as they're durable, they're great sights. So another good option, or possibly great option for you to adjust a sight that you maybe already have, or if you're looking at getting a new one, Black Gold has that bracket. This show is brought to you by Maven Optics. Head over to mavenbuilt.com, check out their full selection of gear and optics, and when you're getting ready to check out, make sure you enter the promo code ALPHAGIFT in full caps. Once again, that's ALPHAGIFT in full caps, and they're going to throw you in a free bonus gift with your next purchase of any set of optics. Now, back to the show. So, obviously, you know, another option is fuse. So fuse, made by Hoyt. This sight is just a standard 5-pin. It's not a slider, but I believe this bracket that they attach as well, you can put on any of their fuse sights or most of their higher end, their newer ones.
Yep.
And if you want a driver style sight, the benefit to the fuse stuff is a little less price, right?
Yep. Yep. You still get windage, micro adjust windage and elevation to the housing. So for the guys that want that really finite adjustment or finesse, however you want to explain it, it has that first, second, third axis adjustment, if I recall correctly. I mean, it pretty much has everything of your high-end sights at a lower, price point or cost value.
Yeah, and maybe a few less bells and whistles when you're really talking about personalizing pin sizing and that kind of stuff. They come standard, right?
Yeah.
But good option if you're looking to get into that system and maybe not spend a ton. The last sight I'm going to bring up, that technically we don't have the bracket yet, but the CBE sites are making now a bracket similar to what Black Gold is doing. And so I'm actually going to start playing with this Trek Pro and on a single pin because, I like to shoot a single pin sight for 3D and just throughout the year, getting a lot more reps in. I like to be able to just hold that pin on the spot. And this Trek Pro is, CBE, you've been a long time CBE shooter, right?
Yep.
And they've got a really sweet setup. The last few years that we've been selling these in the shop, I'm really excited to get this on the bow and start putting it through the paces because if I really like this sight, then I may end up going to the 3 or the 5 pin to hunt with and on that Picatinny bracket. I'm really liking this. Just being able to get those arrows tight and the additional features you get to utilize with the Hoyt platform and run those arrows so tight. We just did a video before on quivers, and those arrows are super tight, especially on that 2-piece. I'm assuming the 1-piece is going to be very similar.
Yep.
But CBE sights as well are an option on the Trek Pro and then the hybrid.
Yeah, the Engage hybrid. Yep, very similar sight body.
Yep.
Carbon dovetail on the Trek Pro here. Again, they do have the Picatinny mount, which is predominantly what we're going after today, talking on this video. But it does come with a carbon rod, so it is a little bit lighter. Dual indicator needles for guys that like to dial their sight out and know what multiple pins are at all times. It does have that, and it does have the laser engraved sight tapes. Yeah. This particular sight is micro adjust all the way around. So windage has a micro adjust as well. Micro adjust pins, really finite sight, really well built, rheostat just like on the Axcel. They've got a lot of things in common, and both do a very good job of producing a high quality product.
Yeah, like I said, I'm actually going to be mounting this one on my bow and starting to shoot it because I had an old CBE sight 12 years ago, 12 years ago, right? And I ran it for a while there and I liked it. However, the newer stuff, this one's going to be the one that I put on my bow that I have. I haven't ran a CBE for a long time, so excited to get into the new CBE products, give them a shot, and see what they're all about. I can already tell you from the second, third axis adjustment, this looks like it's very simple to adjust, right? Some of these sights get a little bit intricate where you have to fit wrenches in certain places. You only have certain size wrenches that fit, and this one looks to be wide open on all the adjustments.
Oh yeah, super easy to get to.
Yeah, so I like that. The knob, it's a little different knob style. So anyway, look for a specific review coming up on this site, and that bracket I'm being told is still another 2 to 3 weeks out, the Picatinny rail bracket for the CBE site. So again, quite a few options, I should say a handful of options, right? Mm-hmm. But you should have enough within those manufacturers to find what you need. I like it. I think I'm sold on this Picatinny bracket system, and like I said, lightening up a little bit of the weight, not a huge issue, but it's nice. But just getting it more in line with the riser, it's hard to explain until you really start playing with it. But again, small incremental improvements with getting the arrows tighter. I think Hoyt did a great job with this bow. So, yep. Anything else to close with, Bo?
Nothing crazy, man. Great products out there. Excited to try it out.
Yeah. So look forward. We're going to be getting more into bow, and Justice got some new Hoyts as well. They're going to be running on some bow builds, and we're going to be adding some of that content to the channel as well. So make sure that because some of their products are similar but slightly different. Arrow setup, weight setup, that kind of thing are slightly different. So as we get those out there, you know, giving you just a different perspective as to, obviously my build is, you know, the 80 pound Ultra at 29 inches. Bo's going to be running a slightly different model. Justice is running a
Ventum Pro
33.
Yep. Ventum Pro 30 at 75 pounds. So
different perspective, different options with the Hoyt platforms, and I'm telling you, I really feel this is their best lineup, and Bo and I have been shooting Hoyt bows for a long time. So check them out. Leave us a comment. Let us know if there's any other questions you have on the sites that we've mentioned. Again, I'm going to be going more over the CBE in the future on another video as I get that bracket. But if there's any questions or comments, leave them below, and then we'll try to answer them as best we can, as quick as we can. So see you guys in another video.